What is up? What is up? What is up, everybody? Thank you once again for clicking on this video. And for those watching live with me, thank you once again for everything. Those who are watching the replay, all I'm simply going to be doing on this video is giving entry positions, giving entry ideas, going over actually entering a trade. Similarly, what it would look like after you enter the trade and the necessary precautions that you should take after you do enter a trade. I'm also just going to quickly go through a few of the parameters that are set in place as well, and something to do with back testing as well, just so that way everyone gets kind of like a better idea of trading and the strategy and really how to capitalize on everything and just see how things could potentially play out, and see how there's a lot of confluence and there's a lot of not coincidences, but there's more things that are tied with each other directly and indirectly. So that's what I'm going to be going through on this video. Thank you once again for subscribing to all my subscribers and people who watch my videos. This one's going to be a kind of a shorter one here. Trying to not make them too long to scare everybody away. But yeah, I'm just pretty much going to share my screen, jump right into everything, and kind of showcase what this is, why I'm structuring it this way, and ultimately how we could be able to capitalize on some of these moves that take place. Now, if number one, you're not in IM Mastery Academy, that would really be number one, like step one in this whole phase, in this whole endeavor and trading and everything. I'm not going to speak on the company. I can give you my personal experiences and stuff like that, but in my personal opinion, like this is where it gets into a tangent. Like I can't really say that it's the best because I think it is, because I could be wrong, but I could also be right because it's my opinion. Point is, guys, I've learned everything I know from IM Mastery Academy, specifically Christopher Derrick, who was one of the first educators in this entire platform and who also did an add-on for GoldCup, which is doing amazing and having wonderful results even in the first week, month, and after a year now, close to a year now. There hasn't been a week where we've had over, I think, 2 or 3 losses. Again, past results do not indicate future results. Results are not typical. It requires a lot of hard work, dedication, time, patience, discipline to, become successful in something like this. But if you choose to make that decision and really plant yourself into learning these markets, learning the structure of everything, and learning how this could become profitable for you and your lifestyle and your family, and making it work for you, then I'm proud of you. And if for those who have made the decision to go all in and to really begin to understand why this is going to take them to the next level, not because they're the best, but because it's all that they know and they're willing to learn and they're willing to unlearn everything they just learned about school, how to get a job, how to get a good degree, how to get all these good things that they were told promised land at the end of the tunnel, like, yeah, everything's going to be gravy, when you really find out that it's just you're racing rats and you're literally a system and a number, or a number and a system rather. So I don't know. That's just me ranting off pretty much, but to stick to the subject and to stick to everything here, let's just focus. Okay. So really, I think there's 4 aspects of every single trade setup, every single move, and every single possibility of capturing pips in the market or collecting these points, as however you want to call it. Okay. So number one is you're going to pretty much get a tool. Okay. You're going to get a tool. You're going to get a scan from a tool. In this case, we're using harmonic patterns. Okay. I'm pretty sure this is a Gartley or Shark. I have no idea what it's called. That's not important. What is important is that it's called. When you take this, and usually this wouldn't even be here, right? I just copied it over from the scanner, which is available on harmonics.im. You literally take the scans from the 1 hour time frame, mark everything up on the 1 hour time frame on TradingView, and then that's when you can begin to build your setups or pretty much like mark up your charts and how to mark everything up. Okay, so that was the scan and that was the entry point called out down here. Now if we zoom in, let's see. Yeah, okay. So to make this like very, very simple, the price was called out here. What did we do? We trap price from this previous floor to now a ceiling to a floor, which did not become a ceiling. However, the ceiling broke above, retested, and became a new floor, hence a shift in momentum. So this is what we're looking for, and this is what the scanner pretty much calls out and is giving us insight towards. It gives us these patterns, not these specific patterns, like this is not a specific pattern, but this is a indication through what the price is telling us. Like price action is king, right? People always ask me, what's the best indicator to use? Notice on my charts, there's no indicators. Notice everything on my charts is pretty much naked. I don't use anything else besides drawing tools and maybe Fibonacci's for entries, but that's it. You'll never see me put a pitchfork, or you'll never see me put like anything crazy, like any of this stuff besides fibs, everything, all this other crazy stuff, all these, where are they? I don't even know where they are. Indicator, fundamentals. Yeah, like an indicator or strategies. You'll never see me put any of this stuff on here. Where's that? Compare or add symbol. Yeah, like guys, it gets to a point where this becomes so simple and so easy that you don't really need to focus on anything else because of what is already working, which I'm going to show you right now. Okay. So let's say we take that trade. We go ahead and we collect our 130 pips. That's wonderful. That's a potential of, right? For the rules as well that we place on our trades, everything is going to be 30 pips, take profit and stop loss on one order. And we do a second order as well called twin trading. And we basically let that order ride, and we're able to stack orders on top of this. So for the uptrend here, we could have potentially got 2 orders in, or 1, 2, 3 orders in altogether for the uptrend, which is a total of 130 pips. You get 30 in the first order. You get another 130 from that order. You get another, what is this? 60. Yeah. It's funny how everything works out that way. But you get another 60 from this order going all the way to the top of the trend, which sometimes you catch it, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you put your stop profits where they need to be, sometimes you don't. It's just a matter of watching and checking and becoming habitual with your trading and your charting. That's it. If you can know what you're supposed to be doing, what you're supposed to be looking for, how specific candles close or open or move throughout the time frame that they're open in, that's when you can really begin to become a successful and dedicated trader. It's all about discipline, everything, and humility too. If you don't have humility when you're learning a strategy or when you're learning trading or pretty much anything, it will fail you miserably. Then you'll learn, hey, well, if I don't become humble, then whatever I'm doing is going to humble me, which is what happened to me at first, because I was like thinking I'm top shot. I was like, can't tell me nothing, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to win. I'm just going to win. All these trades are blue anyway, so let's go, let's go, let's go. Ended up losing my entire account. And then from that moment on, I made a decision and decided for not only me, but for my family, my kids, everyone I'm doing this for, to never waver from those rules, strategies, disciplines that are set in place, because sometimes the only person that we can never lie to is ourselves. And it's a hard truth to accept and a pill to swallow, but at the end of the day, it's just truth. So back to this, I wanted to show you. Okay, so yeah, when we get this harmonic pattern called out, we trap price from the previous floor, which is now a ceiling, and this is a ceiling or a floor as well. So price is trapped. Okay, so floor, ceiling. What happened was price broke out of this zone, which was a previous ceiling, broke out, and then came back in to retest as a newfound floor. So broke the ceiling, became a floor, you had about 6 pips of drawdown if you entered on that candle. But then, like I said, ultimately 130 pips. Now, what happens after 30 pips? It will actually take you out of the first order, because if you press buy twice on your MetaTrader 4, 0.01 per 100, you're literally going to have either, if you have $100 in your account, you use a 0.01, you're going to have $3 that's automatically put into your account, locked, secured, done in your account, in your broker. Second order is still trailing, but as soon as this happens, you'll get the 30 pips from that first order, and you'll move your stop loss to a 2 pip stop profit on the second order as well, or like both orders too. So if that makes sense. When it goes 10 to 15 pips in profit, you automatically take both stop losses on both orders and put them 2 pips above this entry. That's the only key into having all blues, unless you just take a straight loss. Like if price literally, where is it? Yeah, like if price did this and just came up and like, okay, may immediately dropped. I don't know, that was like a bad example, but here, I'll show you this. Yeah, let's say price goes up like 3 or 4 pips, goes down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and then just bombs. Like for example, news hits or something like this, like it did here. What if this news candle was in the opposite direction? We just get a 30 pip stop loss hit. But then the best part about this strategy is like now that you know where price is going, you can actually just wait for a retest of this previous level of a floor for a newfound ceiling, then take your entry here and then continue on down with that downtrend. So that would be like cool, because if you do end up catching this for the continuation of the downtrend, which was this downtrend, if you catch that continuation, this was called out on the scanner, so it's calling it out for a buy. So you could even potentially get more pips to the upside. So instead of this being only 130, it would then be something around the lines of, let's say, yeah, like let's say it goes down here. Yeah, like let's say you move down here, you get not only 130 but 198. So that extra, few pips makes a whole difference. That makes sense. I hope it makes sense to people. I really hope I'm breaking this, because this makes perfect sense to me, and I think that if I break it down this way, it's easy to understand, and I think there's no room for misinterpretation unless you have questions. Then feel free, but other than that, I think that's pretty much a good breakdown. Next thing that happens after that first order is taken, that 30 pip take profit, you're going to secure that $3. It's going to go into your brokerage account. You put your stop loss as 30 pips up to 2 pips, and then you let both orders ride. Now let's say this happens, because this is what happened on this order. It created a newfound ceiling up here. So what we did is pretty much trap price from this like this, what is that, a wick, that line on that candle to the body, to the starting of the body, and that was price, meaning it's trapped. Plus we can also do back testing here and find out, hey, well, it was a floor over here, it broke the floor over here and then became a ceiling over here. So this is a strong level that has been played with before, that has been tapped off of before, and is very like a key level to be watching out for, not just here, but of course, if we continue on and look, right, it's been played off of here as well. And then just keep going, back testing. There's other places where it's played off. Yeah, here, all these places. So it just gives you more confirmation that, yeah, this is a key area to be looking out for. And look what happened. Price came up, had a hard time breaking past that level. It went down. It came back up, and then it kind of broke through, but kind of not, because it didn't close. But then it finally broke above, closed for another few hours. Then finally, it did that retest, which is like almost unheard of with a wick. Boom. I'll move this out of the way. So you can see it wicked into that area. And then here's what I would do. Take your Fibonacci from where it broke out of. So right there to that previous level. What is that? That's close to 78.6 and 88.6. From this bottom to this top. And then let's say we want to measure from that top to, let's say, this bottom right here. Yeah, 78.6. From that top to this bottom. That's like 61.8 perfectly, pretty much. Okay, so it's just like multiple confirmations that this is a key level, a break, and then a wick retest off of the 78.6 and the 61.8. That entry right there, even, you could have had total confidence taking that buy order again for another 60 pips and having another 30 pips secured. So 60, or so 30, 30 for a total of 60 secured no matter what, and a potential of 100 and, what was it, 130 plus 60. So 200 pips altogether captured, done. From an order here and two orders here, both equaling, so the 130, the 30, which is 160, and then plus another 60. So it's like, that's a lot. I mean, it all adds up. The point is, guys, if you're understanding the strategy, you're understanding where you're putting these levels, being patient to wait for the breaks and the retests, then amazing things can happen. What we did here as well too is we didn't give up on this trade just because it hit our stop loss or stop profit, I guess you could say. We still continued to follow price to see where it was at. So this is our entry. Okay, price came down and we were looking for a bounce off of this level for it because it was trapped. But then we just ultimately had a move to the downside, a break above close, and that move cost us how much time? Yeah, it was like 13 hours, like 8 hours if you got the wick of 67 pips potential. And this is only like one setup with only 3 entries, or 1, 2, yeah, 3 entries, 2 to the upside and 1 to the downside on Australian dollar to the Canadian dollar, right? That's only one that was in the arsenal. There's been other ones as well too, like AUD, USD. This one clearly price is stuck. It broke, retested, and boom. I think this one is one of my favorites because it literally showcases not only the rules, which are super important too, but it showcases how these lines literally determine what we're looking for. Like you see these on the charts. You see this black line, this black squiggly Harry Potter looking line, and a yellow circle of where you're looking to enter. But you're like, okay, well, it's not going to happen exactly like that. I don't know, guys. Kind of looks exactly like that to me if I just move this stuff over. What do you think? Did that happen exactly the way that we wanted it to? I think so. I think we were looking for a solid ceiling right here. Ceiling, 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 ceiling. Finally, broke the ceiling, closed above, hence all these candles. Finally came back down to where it previously was a ceiling to now a floor entry. And then that was your, 60 pips, 67 pips. You capture 30 pips on the first order and a potential of 67 if you were trailing the second. So easy breakdown on this one. Hey. Easy breakdown on this one. Canadian dollar to the Japanese dollar. Okay, sorry. My animal. Anyways, this one too. You see how easy it was? I didn't even drop the lines for this one. But this is a larger setup that we're looking for. That was called out here for a total of like 280 pip potential to the upside. So it is a pretty big setup, which of course we're always after. But then same thing, all that happened when we were on the charts last week was it broke and became a floor for a total of 63 pips, 63 and a half pips. Right, same thing. It was a ceiling, broke the ceiling, and it became a floor. We entered, 30 pips collected, and then a potential of 63. Easy, right? You'd still technically be in this with your stop profit around here, 2 pips above the entry, which is like, yeah, let's say it's 2 pips above the entry, so right there. Because it never hit. So you'd still be in this, floating in, 28 pips of profit with a 2 pip stop profit in place, which is pretty much risk-free trading, which now you can pretty much let it ride. If it's going to continue to do that move, you just continue to collect pips, just continuing to flow free money pretty much into your brokerage account, if that makes sense. So let's go on to the next one here. Euro JPY, same thing, ceiling zone marked up as per price trap, broke, retest, and then boom. Another cool 89 pips for that one. Notice I'm not using any zones or notice I'm not using any lines or boxes or lines or circles on this one, because ultimately sometimes, guys, this is all you need. You literally just need 2 lines on each side, 2 boxes, and that's it. And that's how you trade. Once you mark this up on your charts on your laptop or your computer or whatever, you go into your phone, boom, same thing, mark those up, take the numbers on the side, enter them for lines so that it's completely accurate. So when you're looking at your MetaTrader 4, you can be like, okay, well, this is exactly how it would be marked up on my laptop. So I don't need to always carry my laptop around with me. I literally have it in my pocket, right? Next thing, your Australian dollar. This one, boom, floor, broke the floor, became a ceiling. Entry. Even if you enter off this area right here, you still captured over 120 pips. Somewhere around 120 pips. Even if you waited for that entry, for that close of this candle in this area, right? Still following the rules, which are always on the charts, right? What happened was you collected your 30 pips on the first order. If you caught all these pips, good, you did. If not, that's fine. What you could have done is you could have marked up your floor here and your ceiling here and been like, okay, well, price is a ceiling, broke the ceiling, almost became a floor. Some people would have taken an entry. Some people wouldn't have. I personally wouldn't have, because it's how many pips away? That's like 5 pips away from the zone, from this previous candlestick over here. So it just goes to show you how close these trades can be. But if you're not staying disciplined to the parameters and everything's set up, there's no retest, there's no entry. Like, you don't get into a trade. You do not press buy, you do not press sell if it does not do a full retest into the zone that you drew up. If it doesn't go into these boxes, then don't do anything. You just wait. Is that simple enough? Like, understanding that if you make a call like that and you take the trade, yeah, sure, you could have profited, but at the same time, it's like, in the end game, are you going to stay disciplined to you and your rules? Or are you just going to be like, look at any shiny opportunity that looks good and potentially risk a lot more, or potentially, blow your accounts, or whatever the case may be for you, right? Okay, so that's the breakdown of that one. I think it was like 60 or 100, 120 pips or something like that. So NZD, USD, the New Zealand dollar to the Canadian dollar. So there's, or to the United States dollar, sorry. So same thing here. I broke this one down really well, and this was called out into the chats as well. If you're into the chats with me on Telegram, price was trapped. This was a floor down here and a ceiling up here. After this candle was finally the last part of the floor or the ceiling, which then became a newfound floor over here, right? Broke, retested. You could have entered. You could have captured your 2 pip stop profit on that because it never went 30 pips. Okay, check it out. Price was a ceiling, broke the ceiling. Yeah, break, retest. Like I said before, guys, this is all about the zones. Just like the first example I gave you where you capture your pips, but then it hits your stop loss and it keeps going. This is an example of that. Price did go, if you did take this entry, did go 10 to 15 pips. So you capture your 2 pip stop profit, right? And then price is still trapped. What happened here was price eventually broke out of this previous floor and then became a newfound ceiling. It's another cool 55 pips right there too. United States dollar to the Swiss franc. This is like where the back testing aspect came into everything. Because on this order or on this trade, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 orders that you could have potentially taken and capitalized on. Which, I mean, at the end of the day, the point is you want to be able to get good at capturing pips. Like it's a catching pips game. It's not about, oh, I'm going to make money. I'm going to make money. That was like a lot of people's mindsets when they get into something like that. It's like, yo, I just want to make that fast cash. Good luck. Doesn't happen unless you like it. I mean, it can, but it's not recommended for long-term residual, long-term steady passive growth and just drawing on charts. Like this looks simple. Like to the newest person, looks like a heart rate monitor with a bunch of things on it. But when I break it down this way, it makes it so easy, right? It's kind of like stairs. You're like climbing upstairs, but every single stair becomes the previous stair, becomes a previous stair, becomes a previous stair, becomes a previous stair. It just continues to happen. You control the levels. The market or the market makes levels, but you control where they go, and you control if you enter or not, which is ultimately the name of the game here. So quick breakdown on this one. Then we get done on these and go. Let's see. Yeah, okay. We good. So United States dollar to the Swiss franc. Price was called out on the Harmonic scanner as I drew up here. Don't really need that, but it was called out on the scanner for a buy. Okay. Now, just because you see buy on the scanner does not mean just press buy, right? It means look at price, look at this currency pair, trap price, which is what I did here for this ceiling, this floor. I waited for price to break, do a retest, and I captured that first order right there. Okay. Which went 10 to 15 pips in profit. And then it never hit my 2 pip stop profit. So I was still in it when I took the second order. Reason why is because it made a newfound ceiling, which then, of course, broke above and got retested for this previous ceiling. So now you have 2 orders, which would have taken you out for this 30 pips, and then also taken you out for the first order for 30 pips. So 60 pips collected so far. Okay. Price made a newfound ceiling. which was also a previous floor. It's funny how that works. It's crazy how that stuff happens, right? It eventually got broken and retested, which is where we took our third order. I think I was 7 or 8 pips of drawdown, but then we collected another 30 pips. So a total of 90 pips so far, potential of 60 on that one, right? Which is where it created a newfound ceiling, which got broken and then retested through these wicks in this area. Took the fourth order for another 30 pips over here. And then which brings us to the last order, which was a previous a new ceiling, got broke and eventually retested over here, which could have caught you your final 15 pips, get your 2-pip stop profit in place. So now instead of capturing just 30 pips, then another 130, you're actually getting a lot more through stacking of orders. So if you're having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 orders of 0.01 on a $100 account, each capturing over 30 pips, it adds up. And these are long-term, high probability trade setups. So this whole thing that you see on the screen is like the main point of trading. It's like the main point of why you draw on these charts and why you are able to learn this strategy, because it looks simple. It is simple. Once you can learn to navigate through these options and through these like entries, levels, I know it may seem difficult. It may seem like you'll never be able to do this, but that's what I said at first. I was like, yo, price trap is so difficult. I don't know what I'm doing. It's so crazy. How can I ever get this? But then I just looked at a few videos. Chris broke it down in such a way that it's like, yo, a 5-year-old, or not, like a 5th grader could understand it. I know the show, like, are you smarter than a 5th grader? They're pretty smart, but if they're smart enough to do that, I think you, an adult, is pretty smart enough to do this. And if you are a kid, hey, give it a go too. But ask permission when you're using real money, I guess. Yeah, so here, my rules did not apply to this because there was no retest unless we go down to like a 5-minute time frame. So we go down to a 5-minute time frame. Even then, it was a final ceiling. It broke, and it was 2 pips away from an entry. And then again, 3 pips, almost 4 pips away from an entry over here. So this goes to show you, like, you could wait a total of, what is this? 55 minutes for a potential retest, and then it not end up happening for another 16 hours, almost 17 hours. And then finally it doesn't even happen again. Then the move happens. And you get 30 pips out of that. So it's just like there's always going to be a new opportunity. There's always going to be a new trade setup. There's always going to be a new scan on the scanner. There's always going to be a new way to trap price, wait for the break in the retest, and follow the rules. That's the way I look at it. Because if you keep consistent with that, it's really endless, like where you could take it and where like the potential is unlimited. Because this is recently a $6.6 trillion a day industry. So I think a lot of people just do not think that that's big when there's not even a trillion human beings on the planet. So it literally just means like abundance for all. I don't know. I think I'm going off on a tangent now, but that was just to kind of break down a few things, answer a few questions. I don't know if I broke anything down. To be honest, if you got value from this, give me a like, give me a comment, give me a subscribe. I don't really, it doesn't matter, but it helps validate the fact that this is real and this knowledge is legitimate. Yeah. This works on any currency pair too, as well, which is one I wanted to show as well. Let's see. Yeah, so for example, Euro GBP price was a ceiling up here. floor down here. It broke the floor, became a ceiling. And that was your trade setup of over 177 pips, which is amazing. You know, for even more visual representation, you can go here and actually draw up the zones, which is, to be honest, my favorite part because it just gives you so much more validation of your zone. It just makes it look so much more cleaner too. Like imagine having a chart that's just all one color or like all, you know, hard to see on the eyes. So it just makes it a lot easier on the eyes and gives you more visual representation of, okay, I drew two lines from the body of the wick to the candle, or the body of the candle to the wick. Now, what does that look like? Oh, okay, well, it looks like this right here. Okay, floor, ceiling, floor, ceiling, broke floor, became ceiling. Made new ceiling, or made new floor down here because of this wick. We can use this one right here. Again, now if we go into a, let's see, I'll draw the zone up on this one. But then again, look, because this is going to trip you out. If I go to a 15-minute time frame, which is where you look for entries, you can see price actually did break out of this zone, do a close, a full candle close of 15 minutes, go back into the zone, you still could have taken an entry. Just goes to show that you can continue making entries even after the initial move, right? And then I'll indicate that by taking my circle and just doing it like that. Easy. Same thing here. Okay. Price did a huge drop, made a new floor, right? From this body of the wick or body of the candle to the wick. Floor, 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 floor. Broke the floor, became a ceiling. Didn't really do much. Finally made it a ceiling and then did the move. But then it hit the 2 pip stop profit right away and you would have been out of this trade because of the consolidation factor and because of the fact that it wasn't doing much. What ended up happening was price eventually made its way back up to this level, which was previously a ceiling from here. And it just continues on, guys. Like these zones are previous, but there's always new zones that could be made. For example, this one. Right. So price made a floor from this, broke the floor, became a ceiling. You could have captured 30 pips there. You know, so it's just all what you're looking at in the markets per se and how you're viewing it. One of the biggest things that I had trouble with is just keeping up with the zones and how to readjust and go back into the markets or go back out, whatever it was. I've learned to forgive myself a lot more over the months of learning this and just understanding that this is a long-term game. And so what, even if you get 2 entries, say 1, 2, being comfortable with 178 pips is being comfortable with 178 pips. So, you know, if imagine that on a 0.01, that's $17.80. But if it's on a 10 standards, that's like 17 grand. So you decide. All this stuff depends on the capital and equity of your account. Okay. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. I'm going to end it off here by saying these two things. Okay. Boom. How about that? Right there. There is. There are, my bad. There are two types of traders in the world. Number one, those who know how to be successful traders. So the people who are winning, people who are profitable, the people who consistently, day in and day out, year after year, month after month, week after week, pull in profits, make money, develop a better skill set. Okay. And then there's the other kind of person who just hasn't learned how to do that yet. That's it. What I mean by all this is this whole thing right here just indicates that you are a human being. Okay. And the fact that you're here listening to this and the fact that you watch this video, which I think this is like an hour long, like 45 minutes long, something like that, is that you just need to learn a strategy and become disciplined with your parameters and your risk and everything. The way you mark the charts up, the way you look at these charts, the way it's set up, it's all codependent on you and your understanding of life. So I'll leave you guys with that. Thank you once again for watching. I really, really appreciate it. If you do have any other questions, reach out to me in the DMs, on YouTube message, my Instagram. Whoops. My Instagram is going to be posted in the description. But for those who can't find it, boom, right here. Oh yeah, I also do some sick magic tricks. Ha! Y'all gotta watch the video on my Instagram, actually see how it ended up. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your night.